What's poppin', fellow nerds? Today we are going to go over our DanDevimon profile. Better late than never, right? There's just a few things I want to go over before I get into the deck profile. So this operates a little differently than a lot of purple decks. This is more of like a stun control deck, or at least my version of DanDevimon is. I'll go through my deck list and then I'll explain my choices at the end and some combos you can do, but very beautiful card. I did say I wanted to build this deck this format. We only have about a week and a half left in the format, but you know, better late than never. But let's get into it. Starting off with our Digitama, we are of course running 4 Chimeramon. On deletion, trigger, draw 1, trash 1, good. And then our 5th egg is the Pagomon. On deletion, trash top 2 cards of your deck. The point of this deck is to turbo your deck into your trash and then recur your DanDevimon for free using your promo DanDevimon. And this gives you draw power and cycle power. You can dump the extra names, and then this just dumps cards into your deck or into your trash. And on to our rookies. 4 of probably the best purple rookie in the game. Chimeramon. On deletion, trigger, draw 1. This does not trash a card, but if you stack this on a Chimeramon and you stack their effects right, you would draw 1 and then activate this and draw 1 and trash 1. So you draw 2 cards off the deletion and then trash 1. So very good card. Definitely want to max this out. Just you want to max out your draw power, because also there's a little bit of a rookie rush element to this version of the deck as well. But I'll get into that later. On to our next rookie. We of course have 4 DanDevimon. On play, trash the top 2 cards of your deck. He is a DanDevimon name, and he also mills cards into your trash. What more could you want from this card? We're maxing this out, 1 because of the name, and 2 because the quicker we can put cards into our trash, the better. And then our next rookie, we obviously want to be running 4 of the promo DanDevimons. His effect is on deletion, or is inheritable. On deletion, if you have 7 or more Digimon cards with Devimon in their name, in your trash, you may play 1 DanDevimon from your trash without paying its memory cost. So, he counts himself, and he also obviously counts DanDevimon. So if you have 5 other Devimon cards in your trash, when he hits the trash, and you have DanDevimon obviously, you get to play DanDevimon for free. Very good card. It's the whole point of the deck. This deck is just a stun, just put DanDevimon out for free and just force your opponent to play around it correctly. And then our last 2 rookies, we are running 2 Itmon. I'm playing him over another just vanilla DanDevimon, because if I'm playing 2 vanilla DanDevimons, it's only 2 names. Like, that's just 1 name in the trash whenever it gets deleted or goes to the trash. But if this guy gets his effect off, that's potentially 3 names in the trash if I mill 3 DanDevimons or 3 Devimon names. So very good. His effect is on deletion, trash the top 3 cards of your deck. If you swing security with 1k, you're probably going to activate the effect, so he just gets to mill 3 cards. Pretty good. And that's it for our rookies. We are running 14. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt, but if you have not already entered our giveaway for a box of BT4 Great Legend and the accompanying promo packs, make sure to enter that. The link is in the description. But let's get back to the video. On to our champions. We are running 4 Devimon. His effect is Retaliation. When this Digimon is lead after losing a battle, delete the Digimon it was battling. And then his inheritable, Retaliation. So he by himself can just smack into something and kill it, and then whatever's on top of him, if he's under the stack, can also do the same thing. A very good card. Also obviously counts as a Devimon name. And our next champion, we are of course running 4 Devimon blocker. Why wouldn't you? 1 to Digivolve, awesome. And he has blocker, and he's called Devimon. Counts as a name, activates a blocker, cool. And also, we are running 4 more blockers. These guys unfortunately are called Vilemon, but they are blockers nonetheless. So one of the main strategies of this deck is to put a blocker on top of one of these guys. So if your opponent attempts to swing at you and you have, if this guy's effect is live, you can just block it whenever you want, and then you can recur a DanDevimon, and then if they want to swing, they have to mill the top card of their security stack. So that's why we're running a full 8 blockers in this deck. And that is it for our champions. We are playing 12. On to our ultimates. We are playing the best ultimate that Purple has access to, 4 Lady Devimons. Her effect is insane. When Digivolving, triggered, draw 2 cards, and then trash 2 cards in your hand. So you draw from the Digivolve, obviously, and then you draw 2 more cards. So you're drawing 3 cards and then trashing 2, so it lets you cycle through your deck quickly and then dump names into your trash. Also, she has Devimon in her name, so she counts. And then her inheritable is once per turn when you use an option card, delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. Pretty good. Lets you get a 2-for-1 if you do play option cards in purple. This deck does play a couple option cards. And then 4 of one of the better level 5s that purple has access to. Chimeramon. On play, you may delete one of your other Digimon or delete one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. So this guy, you can trigger the DanDevimon effect and any one of your other deletion effects with him while getting rid of one of your opponent's things. A very good card to control your opponent's board and just stun them for a turn. And then our last 2, we are running 2 Neo Devimon. We are mostly running this guy for the name, although his effect is situational and it can come up. But his effect is an opponent's turn. When an opponent plays a Tamer, gain 3 memory. So if they play a Tamer, it's going to cost 3 more memory than whatever they have to pay for it, which is pretty cool. And then the inheritable is opponent's turn. When an opponent's Tamer becomes suspended, gain 1 memory. So that's pretty cool, playing against like Marcus Damon, Taiga. The more Tamers that become printed in the newer sets, the more this will have come into play, because it seems like more and more Tamers want to suspend themselves for their effects. So he can come up. And that is it for our ultimate. So we are running 10. And then onto our megas. Obviously 4 DanDevimons. Such a beautiful alt art. So his effect is opponent's turn, once per turn, unfortunately. When a card is removed from your security stack, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. What's cool about the effect and how trashing the top card works is if you trash the top card of a security stack, it doesn't activate, like it doesn't get to play itself for free or anything like that if it's a card like that. But very good card. It keeps obviously like Tamers from activating and things like that, and just option cards, but very good effect. And then on deletion, all turns, obviously, your opponent trashes 2 cards in their hand. What's cool about this is if you want, if your opponent is like low on resources, you can actually just like Chimeramon and delete your DanDevimon and then just get rid of 2 cards in your opponent's hand while getting rid of one of their board, one of their Digimon on their board, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool combo. And then our next mega, we are running 3 Anubismon. These are the last megas. We're only running 7 megas in this deck. So his effect is, when Digivolving, you may play 1 level 3 Digimon card from your trash without paying its memory cost. They do get their on-play effects if you didn't notice. And then your turn, when you play a Digimon card from your trash, that Digimon gains Rush for the turn. So this guy is really good. The main reason why we're playing him is because he can recur your DanDevimons for free, and then you just Digivolve a blocker on top of them, or you can swing in if you recur something else. But there are also some other cool combos, like if you have the promo DanDevimon in your stack, swing into someone's security, and then like it dies to the battle, you get to activate the DanDevimon's effect, play DanDevimon from your trash, and then if he's on the field, you just get to swing in with DanDevimon that turn, which is pretty cool. But he's very good. I really want to play 4, but there's not quite enough room. But 3 is enough. You see him often. And then our level 7 Digimon, we are running 3 Millenniumon. You may be wondering why I'm playing so many when I'm only playing 7 megas. 1, DanDevimon can always recur itself from the trash, so you can get that guy on the field repeatedly. And also, one of the only things this deck gets hard countered by is Craniamon. And I do realize that's not very common, but you don't want to just lose to not a tier 1 deck just because they have an effect that says it can't be deleted. That's something that all purple decks have an issue with, is Craniamon. So you definitely want to have an out to that. Also, this guy just gets rid of things. Like, he gets rid of Millenniumons in the mirror. He gets rid of just really annoying cards. Chaosmon Valderon, they don't get to gain memory when it's gotten rid of. For those of you that don't know, a Millenniumon's effect is, when Digivolving, return one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of their deck, trash all the Digivolution cards of that Digimon. So it just puts it to the bottom of the deck. They don't get deletion effects or anything like that. It just goes away and doesn't come back until they draw it again, potentially. And then his second effect is, on deletion, if this card had Digivolution cards, you may play this card from your trash without paying its memory costs. I'm going to get into some pretty nasty combos at the end of the video just to show exactly how you can abuse this card. Alright, very good card. You definitely want to see this card every game, so that's why I'm playing 3 and not 2, which is what normally I would play if like this Mega wasn't so good in this deck. And then onto our Tamers, we are running 2 Matt Ishida. This is the purple Matt memory setter. Start of your turn, if you have 2 memory or less, set your memory to 3. And then on play, return 1 purple Digimon card or purple option card from your trash to your hand. So you just get to grab something back that you milled that you really want. Very good effect. And then our option cards. We have 2 option cards. I bet you didn't guess this. Hell's Gate. The effect is main. Delete one of your opponent's level 6 or higher Digimon. And then security, add this card to its owner's hand. So why am I playing this and not Trump Sword, you ask? The answer is Trump Sword can miss things if it's checked in security. So let's say your opponent has 1 big stack, they swing, so it's suspended, and then they check a Trump Sword. Well, now I don't get to deal with it because it's suspended, so you miss it with Trump Sword, since Trump Sword can only delete unsuspended Digimon. And also, the only thing this deck has an issue consistently dealing with is level 6 or higher Digimon. So I would rather just be able to get rid of them whenever I want. Like if this gets checked in security, I would rather put this in my hand and then have the option of just getting rid of my opponent's big stuff that they put on the field. And what's cool is once this goes to your hand from the security effect, your opponent has to play around that the rest of the game, which is very annoying because Hell's Gate deletes a level 6 or higher Digimon, and Chimeramon deletes anything level 5 or lower. So what are you going to play around? Like, very annoying mind games that you can play with your opponent, but I want non-situational destruction, and that's why I don't want to play Trump Sword. Also, this is cheaper than Trump Sword, and generally you're going to want to Trump Sword Megas anyway because like you can just Chimeramon level 5. Like why would you want to Trump Sword an ultimate? That is it for the deck. Now I'm going to get into a couple of things I want to say about the deck. Alright, so as I mentioned before, this is more of a stun deck. And the reason for that is because if your opponent has a problem on their field, we got some problem solvers in this deck. And I'll just point them out for you real quick. Level 4 problem solver, Retaliation Devimon. If it's suspended, you can swing into it and just kill it with this or anything on top of this if it doesn't have Craniumon ability to not be deleted by card effects. But this guy solves problems. And then you have level 5 problem solver, Chimeramon. Level 5 or lower Digimon, this solves problems. Your opponent got a problem, it's level 5 or lower, boom, play this, now it's not a problem. And then obviously, Millenniummon, he's a problem solver and then he becomes a problem once he's on the field. Very good card. He outs anything in the game that doesn't have the effect of Breath of the Gods on it, which keeps the Digimon from returning to its owner's deck for the turn. This guy outs anything, including himself, which is pretty cool. Very good card. And then you got something that you can't deal with Chimeramon? Okay, fine. Let's Hell's Gate it. Problem solved. And then if I have a memory setter on my field and you have a memory setter on your field, I can just play this at the beginning of my turn. And I get rid of your huge stack, and then you just get 3 memory. I really like that this only costs 6. And the fact that it goes to my hand as opposed to activating the effect in security. I think that makes it much better than if it activated the effect, because it's so situational that like you wouldn't want this to go off, so you hold it for when your opponent does have a problem you want to solve by just paying 6 memory. But I call these guys the problem solvers. Alright, now let's get to the combos. I'll give you a couple of examples here. Let's say you just solved a problem on your opponent's side of the field last turn, and you're at 3 memory because you have a memory setter. Alright, so you're at 3 memory, you have a level 5 on the field. You Digivolve into Anubismon, activate Anubismon's effect to play a level 3 Digimon for free from your trash without paying its cost. Play this boy. So now you're at 0 memory. You either Digivolve with Vilemon or Digivolve with Devimon. And then now you have a 10k Digimon that gives everything rush on your turn if it's played from your trash. And then this guy, and your opponent swings and you have this effect active. You just get to, whenever you want, block one of their attacks. Boom. Then play this guy. Pretty good. That's the main point of the deck, is doing that combo, like recurring or just playing a level just playing this guy from your hand, and then digivolving on top of him, because this card gets this card back into your hand if you want it. So being able to recur this guy to recur this guy is the main point of this deck. Now let's go into another combo. Alright, let's say it's mid to late game. You have an ideal stack, which a lot of these effects are not necessary in most situations, but you have an ideal stack Millenniumon with DanDevimon, and then Lady Devimon, Devimon, Retaliation, DanDevimon that recurs DanDevimon, and then Chimeramon. Alright. So there are a few things you can do with this ideal stack and with Anubismon on the field. One, you can swing into something, and then if Millenniumon dies, for whatever reason, you get to activate both of these effects to recur both of these cards. So this effect activates, bringing back DanDevimon, and then Millenniumon's effect activates because you had a stack, and then they both bring themselves back, and then this effect triggers where you draw one, trash one, obviously. Something else that's pretty fun is if you have Lady Devimon underneath anything, you can activate Hell's Gate, delete one of your opponent's megas, and then Lady Devimon's effect activates and deletes one of their rookies if they happen to have one, so you get a little 2-for-1 action there. And then something really fun to do is if your opponent, let's say, like, you don't really care about Anubismon in this situation because they're rarely going to give you enough memory to do this and not end your turn. But let's say you have this stack and it's putting on a ton of pressure, but you really want a DanDevimon on the field. So let's just do that. Chimeramon, delete this, delete one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. And fun fact, they don't actually have to have a legal target for you to do this, because in Digimon you can just activate as much of the card as possible. So you can actually just activate this effect without a target. Just to let you guys know that potentially might come up, like forcing yourself to delete something without a target, but most of the time you're going to want them to have a target. The stack triggers, this effect triggers, draw one, trash one, who cares. This effect triggers to recur this guy. And then this effect triggers to recur this guy. So you just got to play this guy, delete your big stack to get rid of one of their cards, and then you get to bring out Millenniumon again, just doesn't have a stack underneath him, and then you get to play DanDevimon. Super good. Now your opponent still has to deal with this. Now they have to deal with this, and if they attack your security, they get to mill the top card of their security. So that's not super fun. So something fun you can do with one of these stacks with Retaliation Devimon underneath them as well is you can swing into one of their Digimon. It can either be a Crash where they're 12k, or it can be anything bigger like an Omnimon or something. Swing into it, and then Retaliation triggers, so you delete their Omnimon or whatever it happens to be. And then DanDevimon triggers to play this back, and then Chimeramon draws a card, trashes a card. And also, this guy triggers, so they get to trash 2 cards in their hand, and then you just get to play this guy back. It's so dumb. So free. So free. Also, if you were curious, we are running a total of 26 Devimon names. Obviously, we want to get the most bang for our buck for this guy, so we want to get as many names as we can play in the deck that are playable as possible. The only one that's actually not that good is the Neo Devimon, but he is situational. But I decided to play him as a name over what probably would have been like a Myotismon or something as like a cheap Digivolve. But generally, you're probably just going to be discarding this guy to put him into your trash because your other ultimates are going to be better than him. But that is it for the deck profile. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure to let me know your thoughts on this deck in the comments, any thoughts or suggestions or questions you might have. But I do appreciate you guys stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy seeing this kind of content and want to come back for more. Until next time, see ya.